All right, guys. So today we have DJ Payne. I'm interviewing him this time. Last time he interviewed me, we figured that out in the beginning. Um, so yeah,
Kind of.
I yeah, yeah. I mean, we worked through it. It was a good conversation. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you flipped the table around a couple times on me and started interviewing me.
Dude, honestly, I feel like conversations are the best though. Like, I feel like we don't get a lot of that on the internet. It's a lot of like predetermined questions. So I have
Sure.
questions, obviously, but like, I feel like a conversation is best just so people can get to know people.
Yeah, because you're a social type of guy. For those of us who don't leave our houses, it's a little foreign to us.
I left my house to go to the chiropractor and get McDonald's today. That's all I left my house for.
Yeah, today. But how many times do you leave your house in an average week?
No way you don't leave your house.
I have to grocery shop.
Hanging out with friends.
Friends. No, yeah,
No
I
way
do
your
social
no
stuff.
way your social bubble's online. That's not I don't believe
No, no,
it.
no, 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 no. I didn't say that.
Okay. Everyone comes to your house.
No.
You got once a week.
Well, define going out.
Hanging out outside of your house. I'm not even saying like going out drinking or anything.
Okay, yeah, then yeah, I go out.
Yeah. Okay. So you can't make me seem like I'm the social butterfly who goes
No,
hangs
but
out.
you are. You're the guy that the whole premise of this interview and the whole premise of the last conversation we had was to kind of humanize DJ Payne one. And one of the questions you led with was, I feel like people don't really know you. Like that's a very social approach to this kind of conversation.
Well, for sure. And I was thinking about that right before we got on this call, actually, which is funny how I brought that up to you. And you're like, yeah, but what does it mean to know a person? I'm like, honestly, people don't know me on the internet either. I just share a lot of personaler details, but I'm
Yeah.
also like I'm also an artist, so that's part of it for me. I feel like an important part of being an artist. But this isn't about me. This is about you. We can't do the back and forth again.
I can do this. You did it to me.
All right, fair. Hey, somebody said I almost got you to laugh. One of my friends, they're like, you almost got one of my guitar client friends. He's like, you almost got Payne to laugh. He watched the whole thing.
I laugh all the time. I don't know. I don't know when
Or like crack a smile or something. That's what they
I
said.
smile. That's the weirdest narrative out there that I don't smile. And I'll get a comment on a photo of me smiling. Say, oh man, this is the first time I seen you smile. Like, bitch,
Also, your
scroll up.
profile picture, you're smiling.
In every picture, I'm smiling, man.
It's
So
true.
it's just that's me not understanding the internet because there is this weird narrative out
Internet
there.
doesn't understand you. You understand the internet very well because you throw tweets out there and they all do well. All your content does well.
Well, define well. It people respond to them, but I don't think they always land correctly. But it's more of when I say the internet, I mean the citizens of the internet, the netizens. I don't understand them, and it goes back to me just not understanding people. Period. Which is why and I've dropped this whole smile conversation because there was a period when I just didn't like smiling in photos because those photos always turned out weird looking and
Mhm.
whatever. I don't care now. I smile in photos but this is like a change 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So I've just been posting smiley photos and I just can't shake the pain never smiles, pain never laughs. There are episodes of either the podcast or just things on YouTube that, YouTube content that I've created where I literally cannot speak because I'm laughing so hard. And it's all over stupid stuff. And that's who I am. I laugh at dumb shit all the time.
You don't
I'm
like cat memes,
constantly
do
laughing.
you?
Huh?
Cat memes?
Yeah, I sit and just laugh at cat videos all the time.
You have cats. That's true. I shouldn't have said that. I
I don't
digress.
know if you can hear them in the background. I have
I
four
could
cats
never.
at my
Last
house
time I
right now.
couldn't hear anything, and you're like, they're going wild. I couldn't hear anything.
It's the sophisticated noise cancellation technology of Zoom.
That's the
But
new.
yeah,
All
my,
right,
my
yeah,
my new rescue cat is asking a question.
bro. How
Have
many
you
cats
heard
do you have?
that have you heard that song, that Sometimes I'm Alone song that the cat sings?
No, I don't have cats.
No, it's not that you have to have cats. It's an internet sensation. It's like millions of views.
I like dog memes more.
No, this one's way better than any dog meme. It's a cat singing a song in English. And my cat must have heard it because he just walks around the house singing that damn song all day.
Not the same tune.
Nearly. He's not as good of a singer. His tone isn't great.
Okay, dude, no, it does not tone match the song. The cat's not
You
tone
know, they
matching.
get the general melody. You know how like when people hear a song on the radio and they try to sing it, and, they're not great singers.
Okay, cats are smarter than dogs. That's fair. Sample your cat, bro.
You know how many times I've tried, and the second I put that mic in his face, all of a sudden he's quiet.
It's shy. Every artist when they first
Not
come
right
out.
now. You want to shut up right now. And when there are three damn other cats in this house, and they're not attending to him, and it's always when I have to podcast or make content that he wants to get vocal. These other cats need to start pulling their weight because I can't be the only one here to address their need for constant attention. I can't. It's too
He's
much. It's too
making his
much.
presence known.
Trust me, I'm aware that he's in my space right now.
No, he's letting us know. He's like, Dad's working. Time to say
He's
something.
trying to wake up. His cousins are staying over. I'm cat sitting, so he's trying to wake them up. They're not going to
You're
wake up.
you're not you're serious.
Yeah.
Cousins meaning siblings. Pan has siblings.
No, no, no. My cat cousins, the cousins of my cats.
Oh, the person you got the cat from, that litter, those
No,
what?
just my someone I consider a sister has two cats and she's traveling, so I watch her cats
I
often.
guess what I was asking was, does Payne have siblings?
Payne has siblings with a lowercase s.
So now
Well,
this
hey, when you grow up with someone
I know
and
forever.
you know that you more or less interact with them in the capacity of siblings, they're siblings. I think the only perspective I
This is
have to go
fun in
off
just
of is the
five
one that I
minutes. This
have.
is great. This is so much deeper into pain than anything the internet's gotten.
Congratulations, man.
Cat humor. We got a we got a nightly bev on deck.
Yeah, water.
Same, same. Trying to fight this dang cold.
You're trying to what?
Fight this cold.
Oh yeah, everyone's sick right now.
Yeah, grandma's been sick for like a week, and like for some reason at the tail end of it, I started like feeling in the back of my throat, and I'm like, went to the chiropractor, try to get that healed. Natural path, holistic medicine. You feel me?
Did
Hey
it
man,
help?
out here, we're not letting that stop us. We're happy to be talking to Pain because the internet doesn't hear from Pain's perspective a lot. He doesn't get
People
interviewed.
hear from my perspective more than they want to hear from my perspective, to be honest with you. Or at
Dude,
least that's my perception.
your content is good though. Like it's organic. Like I definitely watched more of your stuff after we made our thing. I don't know if that was your plan the whole time was to
It
get me to be
was.
a subscriber and a viewer, but I
Yeah.
definitely watched more.
Yeah, I got you.
Had no idea that Dame was Dame. Like after watching him talk a little bit about Hobson, I was like, that no, oh what? I was tripping.
I had no idea Dame was Dame
You're kidding.
for years. I knew who he was. I just didn't know about the fall of Funk Volume because I didn't really like I was a fan of all the music that was coming out, but I wasn't a diehard fan. And so I think that put me on the outside of the average Funk Volume fan because the average Funk Volume fan is like the average Strange Music or ICP fan. They're dedicated. So I had never watched Ill Mind. Was it eight? The one it was like
Already
three
talks
or
about Dame.
yeah, it was like 3 or 4 years into my relationship with Dame. After we had toured together, after we had run or co-run a music business mentorship platform that I watched it. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I knew him before.
They're going
You didn't
wild.
hear that noise?
Oh, I heard that one.
The fuck, man. I don't like that shit. Hold on a second. Nah, you know what? Whatever broke, it's gonna be broken. So it doesn't matter if I address it now. Um, I'm glad I didn't watch that beforehand. I was linked up with Dame through a mutual friend, and we
You're
just
saying
started working together.
glad you didn't because it would have jaded your perspective towards Dame.
I just didn't want to know who he was through the lens of someone else. I wanted to
Okay.
experience that myself. And
Okay.
so after touring with him, after going through, like if you tour with
That
someone,
that has nothing to do with yours and his relationship.
well, it was bullshit anyway. Once I watched, and I felt bad because I was watching Illmind 8 after 3 or 4 years of knowing Dame, after touring with him, riding planes, trains, and automobiles with the band, and
Yeah.
having the tour financials tied up. Essentially they're all in his hands. He's a finance guy. I trust the guy with our shared financial resources. I still do.
Yeah.
But I watch Illmind 8, and Dame is presented as this thief, this liar, and I'm laughing the whole time because it's hilarious. Because I'm like, this is not. It'd be like if someone made a video about me and they're like, Pain One is goofy, he's always smiling, and he's always out drinking. I would be laughing because it's so far from the truth. And then Hobson said that shit with his chest about the shake weight. I'm like,
Bro, that bar, there's a couple bars, but there's
no, but
one
the shake weight
out,
one.
out. Yeah.
I'm like, I was at we when we did our Denver date, uh that was when Kato was still touring with us, and Dame and I went
Okay.
to, yeah, that's way back. Because that was the original MEC. We went
Okay.
to Planet Fitness, maybe, I don't know, one of those big chain gyms.
Yeah. Shout
I'm
out to
like, I didn't.
Pizza Gym, Planet Fitness. Some of them
Oh
have
God,
pizza.
that's a terrible concept for a gym. But they did not have a shake weight. I did not see a single shake weight. I saw Dame using treadmills and dumbbells.
God, you're speaking of the bar. No way. That's crazy. Dude,
Yeah.
I grew up on this stuff. Like, well, grew up. I was probably 26, but 24.
Well, a lot of the Funk Volume fans still haven't grown up based on the comments we still get on our podcast.
The craziest part to me, and obviously things have been somewhat settled between the two of them, because what I heard from one of the videos I watched on your page was how they did an interview and he
Mm-hmm.
was like, it wasn't totally factually truthful still, but it was more than the song, essentially.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't need to speak on their relationship because they had a sit down and it's on
Yeah. Which
the
I actually am
channel.
probably gonna watch after this. I'm not gonna lie. It's PS5
It's
or
it's
that.
interest it's an interesting conversation, and like, I don't think people understand what it would feel like to be in a position where millions of people who don't know you from a can of paint hate you based on something someone else said about you. And we're talking Vlad TV. We're talking Big Boy in the, or was it Big Boy in the Morning? It was some huge radio show, some syndicated radio show. We're talking about a single that may have gone gold based on the numbers, all about hating you. That's a lot to deal with. So
Yeah.
the fact that Dame didn't go postal or just go AWOL completely, you got to
Yeah.
respect that.
Oh yeah. Well, I think it speaks a lot to him as a person because I think in that's where I heard the word pivot used a lot, and I started using that a little bit myself in as far as the industry. But it didn't kill his career. Like he kept it
No,
going, obviously, which is I think that's super cool because we always hear stories about, oh, whatever, blackballing out of the industry, blah blah blah. But I don't know if that's really a thing. Like with how many ways that you can make a career in music these days.
no, I don't believe in any of that stuff. I mean, I think if, well, I think you
I'm
can get
sure we could all say
blackballed
something
if,
absolutely wild and people wouldn't want to work with us as much, but it doesn't mean nobody would want to work with you.
yeah. And I think it really depends who you piss off to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
most people never even get close to that point. But
Gotta
yeah,
make
like,
me Iovine real mad, bro. Real
was
mad.
it all the people who are like, oh, if you disrespect the gay community or the trans community, you'll get canceled. Like, you're saying that about your favorite comedian who just inked a multi-million-dollar Netflix deal. How the fuck is he canceled?
We're talking
It's
about Matt
it's
Rife.
just something
Right.
that people who like to be racist and like playfully bigoted. I use the term playfully loosely because I don't believe that any of it's really playful, but you know, they love to do that. And then the second there's any sort of repercussion, then it's like, oh my God, cancel culture. So I look
And
at that, the
honestly, a
blackballing
lot of
is the
that
same
stuff
way.
blows up these days too. Like that, taking that super right or left wing approach, it'll blow up with the right, it'll blow up with the left. It's kind of like, depending on how crazy you're actually speaking on songs or in your
Well, I just
content.
think no one, there's just no one's getting canceled for anything. People,
No,
they
you
use
might
the
tweet
term
less.
cancel culture with accountability. It's interchangeable. It's like, oh yeah, I said something racist. Oh, it's cancel culture. Like, no, bitch, that's accountability. Because you say some shit and now you have to stand on it. You're not canceled. You're being held accountable. That's it. But
That's
if you
that's my
if you
biggest
scream
problem with
cancel
shocks.
culture, then you just all you do is galvanize your fans who agree with your philosophies, and then they rush to your defense. It's a really smart marketing tactic. It's a tactic. That's to me, cancel culture is just a marketing tactic by someone who doesn't want to be held accountable for their actions.
That's deep. That is so much deeper than I've ever thought about cancel culture. I mean, for a minute, I thought people were actually getting canceled, and then you see, what do they say? Kanye's uncancelable and all. Honestly, bro, like there's so many more people in the world too that can be exposed to your stuff. A million people watching a video, that's a lot of people, but there's millions of people. So like then
Yeah.
you blow up again on a million of different people, different demographic that don't know that you said blah blah blah. So you're
Or that
uncanceled.
agree with it.
Yeah, yeah, that too. Which I've had happen plenty of times on Twitter when they were calling me a scammer and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, okay. And then people run to my defense. And then it's just the haters are always a little bit louder than your supporters.
Yeah.
And
People
I,
love to call everyone a scammer except a scammer in the music business.
I am conflicted on that though, in terms of going back to that line of work or if I ever want to like open up that kind of marketing agency again that I had. But it's not because I think what I did was wrong, it's because I've done it already and I think I want to move forward.
Yeah.
It's with that mindset. Um, That being said, we got a lot of different questions. My biggest favorite question that I keep getting that you're not seeing for sure is why are people blocked? I love that one. Um, they love to ask those questions. I'm like, dude, I don't freaking know. Like, go make
Well,
a
they're not
burner.
asking you the question.
They're asking you it,
Yeah,
but
they're
you
asking
can't
me.
see it. You can't see it.
No, I can't. If someone is blocked, it's one of two things. One, it was a mistake and my finger slipped, or who knows what happened, or two, I meant to block them, and that's just what it is.
Somebody goes, I don't have this one saved, but they said I think they called you silly or stupid or something and they got blocked and I was like, I don't know, dude, like I don't know, like I just I have a few people blocked. What I don't understand about Twitter's algorithm is I am blocked by Taz Taylor, but I saw one of his tweets today on one of my followers pages because she responded to his tweet and I was like, why can't I see this? Because I went to his page and I was blocked and I was like, okay, respect. Because
Mm,
it was remember, do you remember like 2021, all the internet money guys leaving internet money and tweeting about it?
no, that maybe.
Yeah. So I jumped on and I said I'm leaving internet money because something and I'm living in a mansion or something. And he DM'd me and said, don't be corny. And then I said, sorry, it's just a joke. And then you blocked me.
Yeah, and I feel like, that's kind of funny, but it's also his right to block you for that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. No, I'm not, I don't hold any bad blood or ill will towards it. If I were to see the guy in person, I would say hello and I would shake his hand. I'm not going to be like shady or weird or anything.
And I respect that stance because it's social media. Everyone is there spending their time, and I feel like if you're getting an experience that you don't want and blocking helps you get closer to the experience that you want, then go ahead, block people.
That's a crazy person. I love it though. I mean, we talked last time and there was some stuff I had to remove from the last interview and you're like, "Oh, you got somebody lingering in your life." I ended up having to block them like a week or two later because they were just playing with my time. And I don't do
I
that.
could have told you that shit was gonna happen. They sounded toxic, but I didn't want to say it.
Bro, I mean, when they're hitting you up saying, "Let's hang out," you say, "Yeah, tonight." They say nothing and they watch your Instagram story. You're like, "I'm kind of over this." Like, you obviously are on some level playing around with me. And I am not meant to be played with, apparently, because I don't block a lot of people and I had to block that.
Yeah, I mean, You didn't ask for my advice, so next question.
No, now, yeah, you said next question. No, but you had the foresight. That's wisdom.
Well, it's experience in dating.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't date often, number one, and then number two, um, you heard the situation, you're like, I know what this is, but you also didn't know what kind of person I was if I would pull that move to block because I don't normally. I did that not because I'm mad at her. I did that so that I wouldn't respond to her when she reached out again.
Sure, and funny enough, I don't really block women in those scenarios. I just don't respond. I feel
I don't
like
know how to do that. I don't know how to do that.
because you feel like you want to respond if they're.
No, I feel like I have to respond, and that's a me
Oh
problem.
yeah, see, I feel like I don't, and it could because in both scenarios you're giving them power. Well, let me tell you why. So early on, I think I was 24, 25, and I had an ex who did a bunch of horrible shit to me. I mean, cheating on me was the tip of the iceberg. And so I break up with her, and she just wouldn't take no for an answer. And she's walking into the house uninvited. She's calling me every night. She's showing up to my events. She's using her friends' phones to call me so that, because if I block her number, she'll just use her friend's phone.
Yeah.
What else would she followed me to work. I was documenting every
So
incident because I'm thinking like either she's gonna hurt me or I'm gonna lose it and then I'm gonna get in legal trouble. So every time I went to work, I would go and tell a coworker what was happening and then I would document it. I would write it out. And I got to the point where I had to threaten to call security on her because she would show up to my job. She was a drug addict. She looked crazy. She'd be crying and going through withdrawal and just, and I'm working at the time I'm working with kids.
mm,
You can't do that shit around kids.
no, that's
So she's showing up to my job like that, all strung out, acting crazy. And for 6 months, she called me every single night. So blocking doesn't help. And when I deal with people who are severely mentally ill, having an episode, and for some reason a portion of their energy becomes fixated on me, when I block them, it just kind of makes them double down. If I just ignore them and let them do what they do, they eventually run out of energy.
yeah.
So I'm not blocking an ex. If they're trying to contact me, I'm just not going to respond because if I block them, I'm giving the way I see it, I'm giving them energy. I'm giving them a response. And they interpret it in a way that is wholly inappropriate. They might interpret it as, oh, he blocked me because he can't resist me, or he's blocking me because I made him mad. But that because he's angry, that's an emotional response. And I wanted an emotional response that shows he still cares.
Hurt. It's
All
hurt.
types of weird. I don't understand people, but this is how I have experienced blocking exes. So I just, unless there's some kind of extreme circumstance, I just,
Divorce.
yeah, I don't respond. I don't interact, but I feel like blocking them is just kind of kicking a hornet's nest.
I'm hoping that it eventually kills my urge to want to reach out.
Yeah, I mean, you do what you got to do based on you knowing yourself and
Yeah.
your impulses.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's easier to ignore the impulses when I know that I've taken a stand that I don't normally take with somebody.
Sure.
So that's where I'm at on that. So shout out to them once again. Made a third freaking podcast of mine. Um Tipping it energy. But that's okay. Much more minimal compared to where it was. So I say that's progress. But anyways, moving on. Now you were talking about responsiveness to them, how you cannot respond to people that reach out to you sometimes in some situations, obviously not all the time. When it comes to social media, what's your importance of responding to the people responding to your stuff? Like how big of a toll does that take on you? Do you like doing it? Do you not?
I like conversation and I like debate because it's just kind of practice. If you have an idea in your head,
Mhm.
You put that idea out there, people challenge it, you challenge them back, you're learning from each other and you're growing your intellect. I think there was a study done where siblings who had conflicts turned out to be more effective leaders, or more just it grew their intellect, something like that. So people, I come from a family who loves to argue, and at a certain point it becomes toxic,
Right.
much like the internet. So I will have debates, and this is me being naive and also continuing to not understand people. It'll be I'm not going to debate, you know, very clearly morally wrong things. If like Michael Rappaport, I'm not going to be like, hey, that's really wrong for you to mock dead children. Fuck that motherfucker. He can suck a dick and die. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not sitting here and being like, hey, man, you shouldn't really. No, fuck that motherfucker. He looks like a sock puppet with a
I meant
slick.
to tell you this is a PG
Yeah,
interview
okay. Fuck
podcast.
PG. Anyway, so he and fuck Michael Rappaport. But I'm not having conversations with people who are clearly so far out that that's the kind of
You
opinion
can
they
tell who they are
espouse.
by the way they type.
Yeah, sure, but my point is sometimes I don't always know, because it'll be a
Have to
conversation
step
that
in
you
it.
that you think is totally benign, like
Mhm.
registering music with a PRO. I'll put out there that, hey, registering music with a PRO is not actually an effective tool for copyright. Then someone will be like, yeah, but it detects your songs. I'll say, no, it doesn't. They'll say, yes, it does. For me, I'm a content creator in the music education space. So this is the kind of pushback that I'm going to get as an educator. So I'm kind of learning through having these conversations what kind of content I should create, where the gaps in understanding are in the music producer community, and then also how to create content that reaches people more effectively, especially people who have been miseducated. So if someone is having that debate with me, and then I send them a link, an official BMI link that says we do not have a content identification system, they're like, well, you're a bitch and that's why you're bald and your mom is, I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
I guess
And
that's
a
where the
lot of times that's what it is. And people are like, it's the way you talk to people. That, like, I don't understand people. I'm having a conversation about a verifiable fact about a PRO. I'm not insulting anyone. It's not a personal conversation. It's not a controversial conversation. And people blow up on the internet. I personally think it's because emotional maturity and accountability are scarce, and the need for therapy is ubiquitous. However, that's just my opinion.
No, you're not wrong. Maybe this is why I don't respond to too many of your tweets, because I just agree, like, and move on, or the occasional retweet, but which I need to get better at. But you said something earlier about, you said you were talking about like not being able to read or understand people, or something you were saying, or not, or connect or something. But you've made a career in music that requires a lot of connecting, a lot of relationships, a lot of building
Yeah.
on relationships and business at the same time. So is it your audience that you feel like you don't connect with too much? Because it seems like you do pretty well on the back end in terms of business and
That's a good
building
question. I
relationships.
don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like audience is very different than business connections too.
Sure. And some days it all makes sense, and some days it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it seems like you can connect with people when you want to or have the desire. And like for
You'd be
me,
surprised.
well, I guess if you want to, but if you don't want to, then you don't.
I mean, I
But
want to connect with Drake. I want to connect
oh
with.
my gosh.
No, not that I've tried. I'm not
Maybe
DMing
you
Drake.
have. I'd love
Hey
to hear
fam,
that.
let's network.
No,
Fam, I'm trying to give you an opportunity, Drake.
let's
Fuck with me.
work, dude. You get those a lot, don't you?
Everybody does.
I don't do too much.
Oh, okay.
Well, I
Maybe
got 'em a
then
lot
I'm
yesterday.
wrong.
I know I got them a lot yesterday, but I said who can rap on this beat, and I got like 60 comments, and everybody wanted the beat for free. And so I just said it's on SoundCloud. And in your interview with me, I said, do what you will with that information. If you know how to get it, cool. If you don't, cool. Maybe I'll tell you, you know. So I just I made that beat because people say I can't make hard beats, and so I made a really difficult beat to rap on, and people rapped on it. They went to market that day with it. So awesome
Wait,
for
what
them.
made that beat difficult to rap on?
Too many kicks.
Oh,
It's always the kick placement. It's too many kicks. Remove the kicks, okay, dude. Because it's almost like a mixture of trap and EDM, almost. Because that's kind of like where I come from when it comes to production. The two
okay.
inspiration for me. So like, yeah, I've heard your
That's
beats don't.
funny. Here I am. I'm trying to make my beats easier for people to rap on.
But like that's what I'm saying. So like when I'm making the beat, I literally go with whatever I hear. So like if I hear kick placement there, I'm gonna put a kick there. And if my friends are like, bro, it's fire, but then we'll get on a FaceTime, I'll take some kicks off and we have a song. It's done. It's easy. But I make what I hear. And those beats for me now, beats, I'm talking about beats, not me playing guitar with live drums and live bass. Beats are just practice. Like, and that's kind of goes back to what we've talked about before, where I haven't sold a whole lot of beats. I have 40 or 50 songs of people on Spotify and Apple or whatever, but I beat sales was never my thing. It was the guitar that brought me my audience, you know? So
Mm.
it was always a little bit, but I mean, one of my questions for sure for you is like, because a lot of people do want to know this too, is like how how many streams of income, what do you do to bring, you know, your income in, like what's your business consist of? Because that's one of the biggest things for all of us that are trying to get out of this game, right? Is like, how do I do this full time? And even that's a slippery conversation, I feel like, because you're a lot of times you sacrifice your soul for music you don't care about, but you're making half decent money. And then there's marketing, and then there's marketing tools and programs, and you've shared some of that, but what else do you do?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you have to sacrifice your soul just to make money. I mean,
Bringing somebody else's vision to life, there's always a dollar amount that I'm going to be happy with that with, and there's a dollar amount where I'm going to be like, dude, I feel like I'm getting used.
well, you have to get to that point first. So,
Good problem to have.
but my point is, you don't get to that point by making music you hate. You get to that point by making music you love and then attracting people to that. And then, you know, if someone's coming to me and they're like, I think you're the guy to create this hyper pop. I'm like, wait a minute, let me stop you right there. I've never in my life really created music like that. Why would you approach me for you know, that's just, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a fun challenge,
Yeah.
but why would you want to pay me to do that? Why wouldn't you want to pay someone who makes that because they love making that, and not me because I just want a challenge and I'm tempted by the money? You know, I'm going to get paid regardless if I'm bringing your vision to life. So why don't you make the vision more aligned with what I'm good at?
Right.
Otherwise, it
Or
feels like you're
they
wasting
just
your
see the
money.
follower count and they say, clout, let's make a song. Maybe I'll get.
And that's the wrong approach. I think
Of
that's the
course,
wrong.
of course, of course. And like that's why I like the relationship that me and you have built over time with these platforms is like we're both, besides these conversations, we're not getting anything from each other, you know, so to
Right.
speak. Yeah, we get some content that we get to share for a few days and it's cool, but at the end of the day, it's just like on some level we appreciate what each other's bringing to the table on a social platform. We think each other's cool and we build relationship and connection. That's just, I think that's how it should be, but then there's a lot of people who do the let's work thing and they just want free beats or they whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, if someone contacts me and says less work, I'm just either. Yeah, I know my tweet today said, please don't send emails like this. And stand on that. You shouldn't be sending emails like that to people you don't know. If you're reaching out to someone and you have no idea how to approach them, maybe you shouldn't reach out to them. Maybe you don't have any value to provide to that conversation. And a lot of people don't approach people because they have value to provide. They approach people because they want to extract value.
Mm.
And then to them, I would say, don't contact people then. Build your own value. Why are you being predatory? That's predatory. It's predatory to try to get stuff out of people without giving them anything. These are people you don't know. That's that when people
How'd
do
you get
that
the
to
email?
you, you know, you go on Facebook and post all these stupid Scarface, but I'll be just about me, you know, I'm here, born alone, die alone. But then you turn around and do the same shit to other people. Just because you look at them as these folks in the music business that have resources and like, oh, Payne One has 80,000 followers, he should share with me. Why? A lot of these people, what it is there's a line, right? And on one side of the line, there are people who have created a brand and gone through all that work, and they have a reason to protect their brand. On the other side, you have people who are just fucking around and trying to get there, but they haven't figured it out yet. And they can't understand why someone would want to protect their brand because they haven't fully built theirs yet. Once you build it, you'll understand why we need to protect it. You know, someone today was like, oh, you're being an asshole. You think you're too big. You're so full of yourself. You should just help these people that reach out. Absolutely not. No, I have, you don't understand. And I'm not here to explain it to you. I'm not here to justify my life to you, right? I'm not going to respond to all the 100 inquiries I get every week of people trying to pick my brain, get on a phone call, talk endlessly, ask me for freebies, ask me to listen to their music, ask me to review contracts for free. I don't have that time, and it's incredibly disrespectful for anyone to expect another human being to drop what they're doing to assist them with something that is never going to be reciprocated. I understand that. I'm not a sucker. When I started, I was ignorant and I would help people, and then I realized they don't actually want my help. You know, people ask for advice, I give it to them, they don't take it. All right, if you really want advice, I have a consultation service, but please be prepared because I want to give you value. This is not me. This is not a money play. This is because I value my time and I know that I've been in this game for a long time. I forget where I was going with this.
That's just how many streams of or what how you make your money in
No, but
music.
there was it went somewhere
Yeah,
else.
we went there somehow,
Don't try
but
to make me look crazy.
you're not crazy.
No, there was
No,
a point. I was gonna wrap this all up. Had to do with networking. Yeah. So the point is, if I'm getting these messages, even if for the most part, like if there's a whacked out message where it's someone that's like, "Oh, can you connect me with Drake?" Or "Hey," and this happens all the time. Producers will contact me, "Hey, can you help me sell beats? Do you know of any artists that want to buy my beats?" I'm not responding. But if someone just says,
not
"Let's
selling them a
work," or
consultation.
"Let's," huh?
You're not selling them a consultation off that because that's what I used to do.
Off of them saying, "Can you find people to buy my beat?" No, they don't.
No, can you teach me or shit
No,
like
if
that?
someone's like, "Can you teach me?" Then yeah, that's different. It's like when someone says collab and people are clowning them, like, yeah, you know, whatever. But if it's someone that, you know, maybe it's someone really dope that I do want to collab with, I'll respond to that message. Or if it's someone that has, you know, 5 beats on BeatStars to my 3,000, and be like, yeah, I have a collab service and this is what it entails. But I'm not shutting them out just because their approach was wrong. My tweet was just general advice because a
Yeah.
lot of folks will not respond to those DMs because they're empty. And because when, you know, it's all about making yourself accessible. If you want to network with someone, provide value and make yourself accessible. You know, like don't walk up to a random person and be like, "Hey, guess what I'm thinking?" Like it's fucking weird. Don't make them do the work
That
and
was
don't be a
yeah.
weirdo. People are like, "Oh, I have a question." Don't make me do extra work just to respond to you. Ask the question. Ask the question, and then
I ask a question you just did.
if it's a reasonable, that's what I mean. Like I'm not answering that. It's a waste of time, man. Like come on, grow up. But revenue, um, our biggest revenue stream, surprise, is selling beats, and that's it. That's the center of everything I do. Like obviously, I DJ. When you sell a beat, there are royalties, and that can break down into I don't know how many other revenue streams there are.
Yeah.
Writers royalties, publishers royalties, sound exchange, which I don't get much of. Mechanicals, sound recording royalties that come from the various labels or distributors, micro syncs. That's 6 there just off of a single beat. Oh, sync licenses, that's 7. What else?
Yeah. Sounds about right.
I mean, you know, to an extent, there's YouTube ad rev.
Oh
There
yeah.
are brand partnerships. There
Yeah.
are referral commissions from the brand partnerships, which are separate, trust me.
Cool.
What else?
Never think about those.
Consultations, drum kits, sample packs, advances from placements, but I kind of put that in the beat selling category.
Yeah. And it
There's
started
other
with
stuff.
beat selling or it started with placements? Because I don't we didn't clarify that
Oh, it
one.
started with placements. If it had started with selling beats online, I'd be way richer because I would have started in.
Really? I thought you
Oh
were gonna
my
say
God, yeah, I
plus.
was such an idiot, man. This is why I go so hard for the type, because people are still hating on type beats and still talking about selling beats online is so trash, and like, man, if I had not been that way when I started, I got my first placement in 2008, right? People
Mm-hmm.
had been selling beats on mp3.com and SoundClick up to that point for at least 8 years. If I had just done that, if I had just been like a Soul Eternity or the second wave of like um the Johnny Julianos or the third wave of like the Dream Lives, whoever, but I was after all of them. And so it took me a long time to
Oversaturated
get
now?
huh?
Is it oversaturated now?
Uh I don't oversaturation
It's a weird word.
scientifically means that you cannot put any more
Okay.
of something into a solution, right? So
Generally, chefs in the kitchen trying to sell beats all day long with their email marketing and their.
no, my thing is when you look at the landscape, yeah, you've thinned the market a little. You spread it thinly because there are way more people doing it. But the only people that matter in that space are the people who are doing it at a high level. If you're not doing it correctly, if you're not doing it at a high level, you really aren't a factor. And so
Right.
people will look at the landscape of the music production beat leasing community and they'll say, damn, there are a million people doing it. It's oversaturated. Those million people aren't doing shit. Out of those million people, there might be 2,000 people doing it the right way. And out of those 2,000 people, there are maybe 500 doing it at a high level and at a high level of consistency. And then you break that down by genre. I don't feel threatened by Ransom because he makes Afrobeat. I don't feel threatened by um I don't know who's a dope producer that does drill. Jay Cactus. I don't, we're in very different musical spaces, even though we can all collab and we do. So I haven't
That's
collabed with Ransom, but I would love to. We have our own lanes.
work, bro.
Yeah.
That's work.
So when you think about it, if you're only really sharing the space with a couple hundred people and you're talking about a global industry, it's not really that saturated. And if you're intimidated by that, then cool, don't get in. Don't add to the saturation. Don't add to the white noise. Do what you got to do over there, but be at peace with that decision. Don't make that decision out of fear and ignorance. And I think a lot of people, I saw one of the questions that someone wanted to ask was, what do I see producers doing wrong? Or what's the most
Yeah.
wrong thing you see produced? This is what I see. People just not even starting. For whatever excuse they make up in their head, the beautiful thing about when I started was I didn't know shit about the music business. I didn't know a goddamn thing about the music business. We talk about this on the podcast all the time. If we knew what we know now after decades in the music business when we first started, we would have never started because it's so much work. But all we had was this naive dream and a love of music. And so we started it and we were just dumb as shit. We didn't know what we were getting into. And by virtue of our own ignorance, because we had to learn incrementally, like if we really fuck something up, that was a learning experience. And we just kept going. And eventually we're like, we're in too deep. We gotta do it at a higher level. But by that point, we had the knowledge base and the experience level.
Right. Right.
So all we did was we're like, all right, we love music. We don't know shit about how the music business works, but we had this moronic confidence in ourselves and this stupid faith that it was going to work out. So we just did it.
Yeah.
And
That's
nowadays, you see producers who are trying to rationalize themselves out of just doing it. What if my beats get stolen? What if I have to have sex with Quincy Jones? What if Tupac's still alive? What if the Illuminati needs me to sacrifice a family member? I really don't like my cousin. Maybe I could sacrifice him. They think about every scenario that could go terribly wrong as to why they should not upload that beat or shut up. You really only have two options, the way I see it.
You're not wrong. I now what about somebody like me, for example, who found success in guitar work and melody work and loops and I mean mixing, other things that came along the line just out of necessity to learn during COVID. But like, should I just double down on what I'm really good at and not focus? I mean, yes, I make beats too, but I also rap on them and sing on them now for the last 2 years. But what should I do? Should I just go all in on one thing that I'm really good at, hone in on that, and forget everything else, or should I diversify?
I think if you're really good at something and you love doing it and you haven't gone all in on it and you're conscious that you have a lot of space to expand, I would say expand as much as you can.
Okay.
Because if you don't, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're watering yourself down. If you're like, okay, there's this thing that I love doing and I'm doing it at 60%, let me pivot because I feel like I might be missing out on something else.
Mm-hmm.
Get to like 90, because
Yeah.
once you get to that point, I think you'll be guided towards the next step. If you
Okay.
become an amazing, it was like
That's true. That's actually
if
true.
you become an amazing session guitarist or whatever, sample maker, whatever you're calling yourself, and you hit that 90 level, whatever success you draw from doing it at such a high level is going to inform your next step. You won't have to guess. You won't have to.
Yeah.
It's because it sounds to me like fear of missing out. Like, what if I'm missing out on all this other stuff?
Yeah. Well, I look at my journey, and for me, it's gone, guitar kits, whatever, loop kits, beat sales here and there, mixing artists, recording artists in the studio, custom beats, that kind of stuff. And I was like you, right, doing 7 or 8 different, up to I think almost 10 things by the end
Yeah.
of 2020, right? And my friend, my old mentor, came to me and he goes, "Bro, I think I told you this." He goes, "You're doing too much for a low dollar amount.
Yeah.
You need to, first of all, you're about to hit 10,000 on Twitter. Who the hell grows a Twitter follow? How, first of all, because most people translate from other places to Twitter. But he goes, you need to teach people how to do what you've done because you get a lot of interaction on there and you're selling and you're making $1,000, $2,000 a month. Teach people how to do that." And I said, okay. And I
Mm.
paid him $3,000, $4,000 to learn. And then I started charging people $2,000 at first. And then after I had it proven that people could make money with what I'd done and it translated to them, then I was able to ramp up and charge more because I proved that it worked, right? If it never would have worked for other people, I would have stopped. And so I went into the marketing stuff. I was still selling beats, I was still selling kits, I was still doing mixing work and stuff because there were some months where the marketing clients weren't coming in as heavy as the month before. So then I had to offset, pivot, and then make money in other places just so I could stay in the room all day long, right? But at the end of the day, yeah, it kind of still came to me, right? I
Yeah.
was making money. I was doing Uber Eats full time. I was doing music full time at the same time. And then I was like, I can't do both like this forever. I can't be on my phone 24. It's just too much, right? I had no automation ever. Finally built an email list, never used it. And then, the divorce and everything happened a year and a half ago. And then grandma and caretaking and stuff. But like in terms of the next step for my career, I'm just like, I've seen what I've done. Now I want to do something else, right? And there are some opportunities on the horizon. It's like not like there's nothing, but at the end of the day, I'm just, what you said is very true. It still came, right? I did what I could at a high capacity for a long time. I was burning myself out, and then I pivoted into marketing, which is great, and I was able to do that well. But the heart and soul to teach people how to build social media isn't the same heart and soul as it is to make music and play guitar melodies every day, right?
Yeah.
Or make beats. So it's an interesting trajectory, but you've been in this for how long? Full time?
Full time, 13, 14 years, something like that, 15 years.
And how many times have you pivoted?
I mean, I never pivoted from the core of what I did. I never put beat making second.
Mhm. When did that become sustainable, like consistently, just at least a set amount each month, if not more? Like
Yeah, I mean, 15 years ago.
crazy. And how long did it take you to get to that point where you were still working jobs and then that was consistent all around?
Probably 12 years.
12 years of making beats, putting them up there, working jobs, and then it became
Yeah, and
consistent.
just it's hard to put a year on it because I was spinning my wheels for so long and just not doing it with the right intention. Because a lot of people, and I see tons of producers speaking their futures in music away. They'll be like, "Yeah, man, I want to do this. I just don't feel like I could ever do it for a career." Why do you feel that way? Why would you even say that out loud? What's going on, man? Like, you need some friends to have a conversation with you. You need some supportive people, and something, and find a way to be your own support system as well. Because, like I said, when I um first was making beats, I felt the same. I'm like, there's no way I can do this for a career. Everybody around me is telling me I can't do this as a career. I don't know a single adult that is doing this as a career. And then I started meeting some. I met this guy named Jinx. He changed his name to G Banger right now. So I think that's what he's going with. But he went platinum and he's from my city. He's from the South Side. So I'm like, yeah, I grew up down the street from where you had your studio. This is kind of encouraging.
Right.
If so, I was kind of looking at it not like, oh, I can't do this. It was like, yeah, I didn't feel like I could do this up to this point. But if Greg Dobie can do it, can I do it? Let me see. And then I did it.
Yeah,
And so I just don't, the negative self-talk really goes a long way to mess people up.
it's true. That's very true. Yeah, because that's where I'm at in my life right now. Is I'm like I can either go back because I've done it before. I am living, breathing testimony that I could do music and marketing full time out of this room. It's not a
Yeah.
question of if I can. It's whether or not I want to again.
Right.
Right? Did I like what I was doing? Nah, kind of. I like teaching people, but is that what I wanted, or did I want to play music and make money? Because those are two very different things, right? So
Sure.
I mean, they can't. I mean, the marketing goes
Well,
hand
and
in
there are
hand.
some things that are more readily and immediately marketable than others. If you're teaching someone marketing, people see more of a value up front. And so they're going to pay you accordingly. Whereas
Right.
with music, it's this kind of nebulous thing where people see value in it, but can you convince them of monetary value?
And I was gonna ask, did you notice a big shift in your business after COVID kind of settled in terms of where money was coming from? Because I did.
Yeah, after COVID, so money was like this, it was good, and then COVID hit and just
Right.
shot
Okay.
up.
That's not just my experience. That's everybody's.
Yeah, and then right after, it wasn't just it's a complicated answer that I don't feel fully confident explaining, but I think there are obviously people were getting COVID funding, and so they had that income, but also people weren't commuting. It was a lot of work from home. When you commute, you spend a lot of time and a lot of money on travel. Suddenly, you have more time and you have a little more money. And what are you going to occupy that time with? If you're a musician, I'm like, shit, I got an extra 2 hours a day because I don't have to travel back and forth in my car or on a bus or on the subway, whatever. Cool. I'm gonna write songs and I'm saving money on the travel costs.
Mhm.
I'll spend it 50, $60 a week on beats because I have the money now. So you
True.
did see, I think that was a big part of it.
Yeah.
Also working from home, people, you could be listening to beats while you're working.
Yeah. True. And a lot of payments. I don't know about other places, but here payments were deferred on mortgages and rent for some people and car payments and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
people
yeah.
the same monthly expenses either. And they had an income of money or a surplus because they didn't have any bills or less
It
bills.
was like the closest we came to feeling what universal basic income would actually do for us.
I, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, I mean, no, you're right. And that's when my music career started, with me making money with melodies and beats and mixing and all that kind of stuff. Is that's when I saw, I think, $10,000 at least that year from music. And I'd never seen a dollar before that, honestly. And but that was also what? That was 2020. I had been making melodies on my own since 2010, 2011. Been playing guitar since whatever, 2003, 2004. That's a long time to be investing in a craft. And people are like, oh, you're good at what you do. Let me pay you, because I have
Yeah.
money. But I was giving kits away for free at first. Lots of free loop kits. And then
Yeah,
people
me too.
started offering money. Yeah. So that you started in the same way.
So that now that's a new cat making sounds.
And there's
Yeah,
four.
I started giving kits away for free, and I actually got placements off of those kits. I got a couple plaques off of those. So I
Really?
kind of feel like doing that
Yeah,
again.
that with who? Who are these that somebody said something about Lil Baby. Somebody said
Little
something.
Baby?
We talked about that, didn't we?
That yeah, that was a Sammy and Little Baby single, but I don't believe that. If it did get certified, I didn't know anything
Okay.
about. I should look at the numbers, but
Who are the plaques with? I mean, we see them.
well, the one that I got, well, the two that I got off of free loot packs, one was the Pooh Shiesty single "Switch It Up," and that was a gold single, so that was my first hit song,
Is that all you? Is
like major hit song. What?
that all you on production?
No, no, it's a sample that I gave out for free. I don't know how many years ago, and
Like,
then, but then because it was a sample and we couldn't figure it out, then I it's a long story. I talk about it with Gold Hayes, who's the guy that put it all together, him and JD Fing. And so I made like 16 different versions of it because I knew, the labels reaching out, they're like, we know there's a sample, or where is the sample from? I'm like, man, I don't know. That was 15 years ago. And I feel bad for even because I would give away sample chops on Facebook. Stupid. I wish I hadn't done that. But also it got me a hit song. So I don't know. It's a double-edged
and
sword.
money was all in order. Things were taken care of at the end of the day.
No, it was a it was a just going.
So
I'm
you
not gonna
have the plaque, but you
explain
didn't
it.
get the money.
Say that again.
You have the plaque, but you didn't get the money.
No, I got the money. It's just
Okay.
it wasn't all in order. They really tried to play us for fools.
Oh,
So bad. So we speak on it. I have a whole conversation with Gold Hayes about it on my channel. It's an amazing story. So it's a harrowing tale of triumph over evil in the music business. Three producers fighting for their equity in what they've created.
uh, over how
Directed by
long?
Steven
Like a
Spielberg.
year or two?
No, we handled it pretty quickly.
Okay. Okay.
But that I had to make a bunch of different versions because it's a sample, and I'm like, man, I don't
And you
know.
had to make those versions so they could put it in the final song.
Yeah, because otherwise we'd be clear. I didn't want them to.
Clearance
So
wasn't working.
no, I was so disorganized back then that
Mhm.
I didn't have a record of what that sample even was. And so I was like, look, in the last decade, I've learned how to be a sample maker so I can convincingly create something similar that doesn't infringe on this copyright if you'll allow me. That's a better situation for me because if it's a sample, we all three of us producers are going to get cut out of the equity. When
Right.
all was said and done, I'm like, oh man, just give me my 20%. That he was like, nope, we're splitting it three ways. We split everything three ways. Shout out to Gold Hayes and shout out to JD Fang. They are fair stand-up people.
Yeah.
And thankfully the label finally approved of the final version, and there was all this controversy and people are like, we like the original version better, this version sucks. Still went gold, bitch. I don't give a fuck. So
Yeah.
clearly people love it, but then the album went platinum, so that's two plaques off that. And then I have a track on the Ray Sremmer double album off a
Okay.
loop that I dropped, and thankfully no samples. That was on me. So flipped Mars flipped it. Mars and Mike Will flipped it. So
How
Cool.
did it get into Mike Will's hands?
Because Mars is signed to Mike Will.
Okay, so Mars got it from you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a lot of experiences or stories in studios with big artists where you were there during the production of it too?
Not as many as I'd like. I've been in studio sessions, bigger studio sessions, but
Oh,
um
it's been from your home.
pardon me?
A lot of it's been from your home or you making
Yeah, a
stuff.
lot of it, yeah.
That's awesome. But that's a new way of doing it too. That wasn't a thing back in the day before the internet.
No, you're right. It wasn't.
Super cool. Okay. That's good to know. Let's see here. Make this one around an hour or so long. Let's see if there's anything in these questions that I really care to ask you. Oh no, shots fired. Um, eh, favorite. Oh, okay. So who's your favorite artist as of now, or artist to work with?
Or artists to work with.
Mhm.
I really like working with Chuck D. I like working with Ted Part for two different reasons because the processes are very different.
Okay.
Well, okay, Chuck D's the front man to my favorite hip hop group of all time, so of course I'm gonna like working with him. But I just liked his approach to creating
How'd
an
that come
album.
about?
Um, there was a group. This is funny. This has to do with networking.
Oh,
So after my first major placement came out, a group called Divided Soul, shout out to Brent, shout out to Chris,
mhm.
reached out to me on MySpace. I think it was MySpace. And they were like, how'd you get that record with Jeezy? And I saw that they had records with Stat Quo. I'm like, how'd you get that record with Stat Quo? And they're like, oh, here's his email. I'm like, oh, damn, I didn't expect you to do. So then I just sent records to Stat Quo and then we got a bunch of songs in. And
Now
he eventually
correspondence,
became
just like, hey, I got your email from so and so. Here's beats. Is that the professional way
yeah,
to handle?
yeah. And
Okay.
he went on to manage a lot of artists, Lil Xan being one of them. But that's another conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I had to tell Divided Souls, I was like, look, man, my manager got me that. I was just kind of calling your bluff because I thought you were expecting me to give you Jeezy's direct contact, which I don't have. And they're like, no, it's cool. I'm like, well, I appreciate that. So then we started working a lot together. And at some point, they networked. They're like the networking kings. They networked their way into a Public Enemy situation. And
So cool.
yeah, so we worked on a couple of Public Enemy albums.
And you've built like relationship with Chuck D through that
Mhm.
over time. Okay.
Yeah, so having the trust of someone like when I say hip hop legend,
Yeah.
we're
100%.
talking about a hip hop legend.
Yes.
That feels
100.
amazing.
Yeah. No, I saw their vinyl in Target the other day. Um, Still out there selling records. Okay, so that's favorite artist to work with, and then the second part, who are your favorite artists?
Uh, it's a good question.
Favorite artists and producers, because I had another one that said favorite producer. So
Favorite producers, RZA, DJ Muggs, DJ Premier, Legendary Trackster,
I'm not
Pappy
gonna
Tez.
lie, this is a hot take. I don't know what RZA has produced for Wu Tang. I just know that he's a producer.
All the dope shit, like 36 Chambers. Come on, really?
You're all everything that you like by them, he made.
Yeah.
Okay, respect.
That threw me off. Who else?
You're all you don't know.
Yeah, who else do I like now? Timberland.
New age in the last 10 years.
In the last 10 years, well, I'm just gonna go back to like LES and Buck Wild and because that's who I was listening to. That like all that music, DJ Honda.
Dang, bro, you are older than me. I keep
Yeah,
forgetting
I'm
that.
old as shit.
Payne's in his 40s?
I just turned 40.
Shout out, congrats, happy birthday, bro. It's a big one.
Well, last year, late last year. But thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I got my first age-related compliment when I did the sample flip on Kavi's channel. And someone was like, "Man,
You look
he's."
good for your age? April.
I do, but no, they said, man, he made a beat like that at 40. Respect. I'm just like, I don't know what that means, but thanks.
Oh my God. Do you ever search your name on Twitter? I was gonna ask you that. You ever do that? I do that
No,
sometimes.
I don't know. I think that'd be a bad
When they
idea.
don't mention you, but they say your name basically without mentioning you.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done it before this interview, but I did. You just get people talking crap that don't want to at you, but they don't want to block you.
Yeah,
I
see, I
guess
don't want to know
it
about
means I'm
that.
doing something right.
Well, yeah, I don't want that in my life.
I gotta learn from pain. I need to get a pain consultation ASAP.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're getting it right now. Stop that shit.
This is the second time you've told me. Actually, this is the first time you've told me what not to do. But the first time you were like, you shouldn't be doing this, but you even said you're not asking for my advice, so I'm not going to give it.
Well, that
That's
was personal.
respectable.
This is professional. Well, no, I guess this is more personal because this is a mental health thing. I don't think we can handle social media. I don't think we're meant to handle social media. When you look at right, I check my Twitter analytics every week. My tweets get about 250,000 impressions, right? So when you consider a year's worth of tweeting, I've potentially reached tens of millions of people. That's
Mhm.
insane. I shouldn't be able to reach that many people, and that many people shouldn't be able to interact with me all at once. And especially when you consider the implications of that kind of instant and anonymous communication.
Yeah. Well, I so the difference, I guess, in our businesses, I mean, they made money, but my business came from the internet. Yours came after placements, right? But then translated to the internet.
Then it, yeah, but the placements were a lot of internet networking. That's what they
Okay.
came from.
So you
So
were in the trenches 15 years ago, just
yeah,
making, like you said, giving stuff away and just figuring it out.
yeah. I mean, I was making beats as a child, so there
It,
was the internet existed, but it didn't exist in the way that it existed when I
it
became
wasn't
an
as
adult.
accessible as it is now.
No, and it could have been. I mean, there were people who were front runners. Like when you hear conversations with people like Illmind and S1, they were in the forums and they're somehow uploading beats from an MPC via dial-up and figuring out how to compress the audio. I'm just like, whoa. I
Oh,
was
that's miserable.
It does, but look where they are now. So it's the internet, even the people that you don't think use
Right,
the
right.
internet
True. Dang.
to further along their careers. Maybe they did.
Crazy. Symbolic one. Shout out to him.
Yeah,
Shout out
he's
to
amazing.
Fanatic for doing a symbolic one sound pack back in the day. I got that one. I think it was free. Um, all right. Well, we will. Okay. I think we'll have a little bit to say about this. So let's hit this because I told you I was going to ask you about this. So this is DJ Payne's tweet from yesterday, I believe. People in the music business weaponize friendship, especially to manipulate producers. We're cool. We don't need lawyers involved. We don't need split sheets, fam. Just trust me. You're my guy. I got you. Then you realize your friend has cut you out completely of your own beat,
I should
right?
have put friend in quotes.
Ooh, okay. So this is happening. Like, what's up with
Oh
this?
yeah.
Well,
And I'm not talking about, some people were tweeting talking about, yeah, my best friend my whole life did that to me. That's terrible. That's never happened to me. I've had very close friends do awful things, but not that. They were not in the music business. My best friend's in the music business right now, and he would never do that to me.
mhm.
Um, and that's memory, shout out to him. But when it comes to being in the music business, people will weaponize friendship and call you a friend and use friendship, even though they're not friends. Like there are people that I've never met who are like, come on, man, we're cool. That you're my friend. Why would you do this to me? And it's like I've never actually met you.
Yeah.
Someone did that to me, and when I went over their heads, I found out that they had cut me out of a really big situation.
Mm.
And then they were upset and they're like, "Oh, I thought you were cool." And it's like, you
Were
know,
you
you
guys
thought I was a
friends
bitch.
before
You
this, or
thought
was it
I
just
was a sucker.
business?
That's what you thought.
Yeah.
And then you realize that I'm not to be played with the way that you thought you were going to play with me. And now it's a problem. But before that, you were talking all that friend stuff because you were trying to calm me down and distract me from what you were doing behind my back. This
And
happens all the time because and the sad part is we fall for it because a lot of us are just happy to be there. I don't know if it's because
it's true.
we didn't have many friends in high school or we're just naive or whatever the case was, but it's a hard lesson, and I feel like a lot of us have to learn it in some capacity before we can really navigate and move around in the music business. Because people, if we're in the music business and we're just happy to be there, or we're in the music business and we're there to make friends, we are targets.
Now, what if you make friends before making music and have a foundation of friendship before the music
I
is
have
ever?
tons of music business friends. I
So
friends
that's
that
what you'd call that, a music business friend.
Well, or I would just call some of them friends. Like there are industry friends with whom I have great relationships. I trust them. They have integrity, but we only know each other in the capacity of colleagues in the music business. And then there are the people who are music industry friends and also friends outside of the music industry with whom I've experienced a lot unrelated to music.
And that's like a
Someone
set
like Ted Park, someone like Soul, someone like Dame, someone like Mike Trampy, someone like DJ Victory, people that I maybe met through the music business, but the last time we hung out, we were just eating and doing
yeah.
whatever, or we've toured and like
Yeah.
I'm telling you, touring, that's the test of a friendship. If you don't kill each other or the group doesn't break up, you're friends with that person.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you heard of Kung Fu Vampire by any chance?
Yeah, you talked about him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he got on my first able to beat whatever. I went on tour with him last summer, and I was like doing social media for him, taking videos for his reels and stuff. And yeah, I mean, you're right. We're definitely closer after those situations than, if we probably didn't do that. But it seems like you've built a lot of friendships from the music business that have butted into real friendships in real life outside of music.
Yeah, and that's because those are good people.
And you
I think
find
that's
them along the way.
Yeah, you find them. And it's the majority of people are good people. It's just that you can't be friends with everyone. You can't work with everyone. And you can't access everyone, and that's fine. Uh, but the music business appears to be this scary place. It's like any career field. When you work a traditional 9 to 5, you have coworkers you love and you have coworkers you can't stand.
True, but you still work with them all as best as you can.
The beauty of the music business is you can pick and choose far more than you can if you worked at an office where like Dave over there in HR, I don't like that motherfucker. Okay, well, you have to work with him. He's in HR. You're not the boss here. But me as a music producer, I'm at my own entity. So if there's another producer over there or a rapper over there or a promoter over there or an A&R over there, the A&R less so because if they're A&Ring a rapper's project and I like the rapper, then I kind of have to suck it up and work with them. But all these other people, if they're bad people and I had a bad interaction with them, I don't have to work with them. Or I can elect to put someone in between us. And so, you know what? I'm not dealing with you directly. My management is handling that. My lawyer is handling that. I'm not dealing with you.
That's what I was gonna say is I feel like we can negate a lot of the nonsense by having proper contracts in place up front for stuff. And then if they don't want to work with you, they won't be cool with the contract. Right. So then it's just kind of made itself plain at that point.
I mean, maybe I've never done business that way.
No, you don't like once business is brought up, you don't bring contracts to the table
Oh, once
then.
business is brought up, but I thought you were saying do it up front, like before you even start
Oh no,
working.
no, that's like
Well, that's a
walking
narrative out there. A lot
contract.
of producers are like, "See, y'all be getting fucked up out here because y'all don't bring up no paperwork." When I go to the studio, I bring paperwork up right away. We sign split sheets. before the
I
song
hear
even
that's a big
happens. And I'm like,
no-no.
how can you sign
Yeah.
a split sheet for a song that doesn't happen? The split sheet says title, and then it, outlines the splits. You don't even know what you did. How can you sign a split sheet?
I heard it's a big no-no to ask for money too for the work you've done in the studio until things are complete. Or you have like people told me in LA, like you make a fake management email, but it's yours. You have access to it and you pretend like you have a manager.
Oh,
That's
I
what I've
used to
heard.
do that all the time.
Yeah. Like, and but the money thing is like you go in, you're for example, me, I'm invited to the studio to play guitar. Job is done. I'm hanging out, I'm chilling, everybody's getting along well. You're not like, hey bro, what here's my splits. Like I hear that you're not supposed to do that. And I've never done that, but that's what I've heard to not do, so I haven't done it.
I would not do that just because you're in a creative space and there's that creative energy. And if the creative energy is great, why
Mhm.
mess that up? It's there's a balancing act. You have to be assertive when the time comes. I would recommend having someone else do it because if you want to be the creative and you want to maintain those relationships with your collaborators,
Yeah.
then the dirty work has to be separate from you. You have to dissociate from that. And the best way to do that is by having a third party handle it. And then you can always just say, even if you're in their ear, like this motherfucker's trying to give me 20% on some shit that I deserve 50% for, no, fight him on that. Then when the guy contacts you and is like, oh man, it looks like your manager's asking for 50%, man, that doesn't seem right. You can just say, you know what? I don't know what they're doing, but I pay them to do their job. So, oh, cool. By the way, let's get in the studio again. Keep the music coming.
And you know what's funny? You know that Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre documentary that came out a few years ago. Did you watch it?
I did not.
So I guess whatever. Long story short, Jimmy Iovine used to be like a mixing engineer and a producer in the studios with like Tom Petty and stuff. And so Tom Petty, once Jimmy started getting more into business, he'd be on the phone in the studio a lot on a hard line. And Tom's like, I've cut that guy's phone line more times than one because he just would not like that was when he was transitioning into business and stuff. But like it's like you're saying, it's like Tom's like, dude, we're here for the music.
Yeah.
You can do the business stuff later. Oh, but I got a lot of you can do it later. Like let's focus on the music,
Yeah.
right? So that's fair. And like honestly, why are you even talking about business if you're just creating? If there's no
Right.
potential, you're making beats, bro. The artist saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
great, we have a hit." Maybe like
I've that has destroyed collaborations for me. I remember,
really.
yeah, I judged a showcase and there was this group of, I think they were twins, and their music was really cool and it
Mhm.
had a cool sound. And afterwards I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I want to, it wasn't, hey, I want you to buy my beats. It was, I want to just send some stuff and see if it clicks.
You to them.
Yeah. And then they put me in touch. They go, okay, we're going to put you in touch with our manager. I'm like, you know what? I'm walking away. No thanks.
Because you were just trying to create.
Because I was just trying to create. That's it.
Got you.
Like, I'm not trying to sign you to a production deal. I'm not, just if you don't want to work, you don't want to work. But I think there are a lot of managers out there that are incredibly predatory and they
Mhm.
convince the artists that the artists are kind of dependent on them. And it's all fear based. I think the theme of all this is
Yeah.
fear.
And I think that's the backwards way to do it because at the end of the day, a lot of people are taught like have your paperwork in place, which is great practice, but we're not saying to give the paperwork to the dude the second that you meet them or
Well,
say,
and then the other thing too is if they're the entity that's going to release the music, they are contracting you. You are not contracting them. So what the
right.
fuck paperwork are you going to give them? You don't even have the sufficient amount of information to issue them paperwork at the time that you're issuing it. So the people who say that are just armchair music business gurus, and the internet is full of them. It's their right to say whatever bullshit they want on the Twitter platform, and it's my right to block them.
Back to it. You did how did you do that was full circle. So that was good.
I'm a
Um
professional.
yeah, no, you do this. You do this. Yeah. That's crazy. Well, I mean it reminds me of the saying scared money don't make money, but maybe they're scared that they're gonna get screwed out on the business end of things. So they come paperwork first or management email first. But also you don't build a relationship that way. because they've been screwed by so many people, but not everyone's bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like the person saying, "Yeah, I cheat on all my girlfriends or boyfriends because I've been cheated on before." Like you're an idiot, man.
Yeah, I don't do that. Yeah. No, I love how you make it personal. Like I'm not expecting it to go that way, and then you're just like, boom, here's a personal note, or
Well, it's
here's
a
a
Josh
personal
interview. We got
announcement.
to talk about dating.
Damn. No, but it's not. It's not. This was you talking more than me this time for sure.
What was up with the girl at the what was the restaurant? There was a woman at some restaurant that was,
I knew you were gonna, dude. I knew that was gonna be asked by
and
you.
what restaurant was it? It was like TGIF or
In and out,
something. What was it?
in and out.
Oh, In and Out. Damn, it wasn't even at the TGIF level. Okay.
Hey man, in and out was my first job ever. No, yeah, we were in the drive-through. Flip this on me again. We are in the drive-through. I was in the drive-through, and I don't know, like this like she just kept like she wouldn't break eye contact. She kept looking at me, and I'm just like, oh, maybe there's something there. And then once again, I tweeted about it after the fact. And last time you're like, oh, that's not real. That was just for engagement. But yeah, I don't know. People like that stuff, bro. Like I had a
Because
girl.
we're frustrated with you. That's why we like it. Because we're like, damn,
No,
Josh,
no, you cannot be frustrated with me.
I can be frustrated with you.
Just mute me. Like, what
I'm
do
not
you
that frustrated with you. It's like 35% frustration, but with only those tweets, with the Guitar Center woman and this, I'm like, hey, if there's chemistry, give her your number. Stop tweeting about the shit.
wait a minute? Okay, your frustration is the fact that I'm tweeting about it and not doing something.
Yeah.
It worked.
Okay, the ends justify the means.
I mean, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, bro, if you look at my replies, a lot of them are just one word responses just to show people that I see what they're saying to my stuff. But for the most part, it's very, you said it, very difficult to foster hundreds, if not thousands, of relationships with people on the internet just because they're responding to your stuff. I'd
Right.
say that's more like a fan, which is totally fine. Like, I'm not knocking that. I like to let them know that they're seen, but that's the work of the social media part for me, at least,
Sure.
is staying interactive with it.
Well, and it's dope when they're directing positive energy towards you.
It's almost always positive for
Right.
sure.
And then but if it's not, then you're like, human beings aren't supposed to handle that.
But
They're
it,
not
you
built for that.
you say so much stuff that's going. You know that there's a narrative on the totally opposite side of what you're saying, and you know that it's going to ruffle feathers. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but you know you're going to get those people who are just combating you because they believe differently or they were taught wrong.
Well, if you're not shaking things up, you're not making change. And I want to make change in the music business.
And what
However,
did I do with the in and out tweet?
sure.
You're all, what does it have
However,
to do with music? You're going to do that.
right. But the In and Out tweet, a response to the In and Out tweet would be like, damn, man, why don't you just act on it? That's an appropriate tweet from someone who's frustrated with that tweet. It's not, hey, when I see you, I'm beating the shit out of you and fuck your mom. That's an inappropriate tweet. And the latter kind of tweet is the kind of tweet that a lot of us get for just expressing either opinions or sharing information that is verifiably true. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. We get
And
into
I don't
this,
get
this
too much of
territory.
that. It goes in the shadow realm where they don't at me, but they still use my name. And it just does more for my marketing at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a balance because on the one hand, more often than not, not always, but more often than not, bad publicity you can transmute into something positive. However, should that be your burden? And my answer to that is no, it should not be because unless you're going online, my bad, I'm cutting out on the people keep calling me. I'm gonna have to cut this short in a minute.
Oh, you're good. People are requesting.
Why can't I reject FaceTime calls? Um, I lost what I
Really?
say.
You were saying that people, you were talking about, I was talking about people in the
Yeah,
shower.
it's just when you're in a situation where there are just a lot of sick people out there, and you make yourself a target potentially hundreds of billions of them just by existing on the internet. And so that's the part where, you know, we started by talking about Dame, you know, and Dame's not a public figure necessarily, or he certainly wasn't then.
Maybe a little
Uh,
more now.
More now, but think about public figures who experience a tragedy and people have theories and opinions on it. And then they, you know, they're trying to use their social media and they see 8,000 tweets from people that they'll never meet telling them how horrible they are and how they deserve to be, you know, burned alive. Like that,
Yeah.
humanity's
No,
fucked.
somebody said that I should kill myself because my beats are so trash today. They
That's
said
what I
if
mean. People love
it
to
was
say stuff like that, and then they're anonymous, and there are no consequences, and that's I think that we'll know in a couple decades what that has done to our collective psyche, and just to humanity in general. But I bet money that it's damaging us quite a bit.
and that's why you suggest that I don't go looking for those things.
Yeah,
Because you find what you're looking for.
exactly.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you go. I'm getting text messages too. All right, people want to talk to me. I was
Well,
gonna say,
I'm getting FaceTimes, and those are more intrusive.
dang, like the thoughts. All right. Well, that was fun. Thank you, man. Thank you for joining for sure. Oh, AJ Hall. I don't know if you know who he is, but he wants you to know that I've sent you all the beats that I've made with his drum kits. But yeah, so shout out to him, giving him a little shout out. But
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Shout out to AJ Hall.
yeah, you know AJ. Cool. Um, but yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I look forward to putting this up. I think people will get a lot out of it, get to know you a little bit more. It was cool. Um, and I'm sure we'll be talking and figuring out. I mean, maybe not like this, but even like the spaces thing is cool. People like that, it's a little bit easier to set up and not as hard to do. But we'll figure some out in the future. It was nice talking to you. Thanks for letting me get to know you a little bit more. I hope you have a good night.
Yeah, you too, man. Appreciate you. Peace.